What's up, Magic players? It's Doyle, your host here on DoylePrimeMTG, where I bring you the latest and greatest in Magic content that I can while still trying to have a life. The time has come. We are about to look at the dopest of the Forgotten Realms precons, Vrondiss, Rage of Ancients.
Forests, islands, mountains, plains, and swamps. The multiverse is all that is, or ever was, or ever will be. There is a tingling in the spine, a faint sensation, as if a distant memory, of walking from plane to plane. Our lives have been forever changed, as if by magic. Embark with me on this journey to eternity. Experience the true power of mind over matter as we ignite your spark and traverse into the magic multiverse.
Vrondiss Rage of Ancients costs 3 red-green for a 5/4 legendary dragon barbarian with Enrage. Whenever Vrondiss Rage of Ancients is dealt damage, you may create a 5/4 red and green dragon spirit creature token with, when this creature deals damage, sacrifice it. And whenever you roll 1 or more dice, you may have Vrondiss deal 1 damage to itself. Since the dice rolling trigger is not quite as reliable as I'd hoped, we'll be focusing entirely on the Enrage trigger, making large 5/4 dragon spirit tokens multiple times per rotation. We will be running a bit heavy on the ramp side since many of our spells are larger in cost. We will kick things off with some artifacts. Soul Ring and Wayfarer's Bauble are some cheap and reliable ramp pieces. Arcane Signet and Fractured Power Stone will also be quite valuable to us, especially if we're playing Plains Chase. Rampant Growth and Sakura Tribe Elder will each find us a basic land into play tapped. Farseek, Nature's Lore, and 3 Visits will each find us a typed land into play tapped. Cultivating Kodama's Reach will each find us 2 basics and put 1 into play tapped and the other into our hand, replacing the spell. Myriad Landscape and Blighted Woodland will each allow us to ramp while only using a land slot in our deck. Since we are leaning into the Enrage mechanic, we can also use Ranging Raptors to help us ramp as well. Finally, we will probably also want to use Klauth Unrivaled Ancient to generate a more massive amount of mana for the casting of our spicy spells. Keeping our hand full is an easy task in this deck. Starting things off is a mana rock that will end up being better at drawing us cards with Dragon's Horde, adding counters when our dragons enter and tapping to either produce mana or draw a card. Since we will be generating so many big tokens, we will also include Elemental Bond and Garruk's Pack Leader to draw us a card for each time that a creature power 3 or greater enters the battlefield. Garruk's Uprising and Kavu Lair will each also draw us a card when a creature power 4 or greater enters the battlefield. Greater Good will allow us to sacrifice 1 of our tokens to draw 5 cards and then discard 3, since they will each have 5 base power. Outpost Siege allows us to impulse draw once per turn, or even give us a damage-dealing effect depending on our situation. Court of Ire will make us the Monarch, drawing a card at our end step, and also gives us directable damage at each of our upkeeps. Ripjaw Raptor will allow us to utilize our Enrage triggers to draw us cards, if that is the direction that we need to go. Shamanic Revelation will allow us to draw a card for each creature that we control, and gain a life for each of those creatures above 4 power. This is a massive boon in this particular deck. Rishkar's Expertise and Return of the Wildspeaker will each draw us cards equal to the greatest power among creatures that we control, each with their additional upside. Toski, Bearer of Secrets, and Auran Frostfang will each draw us a card whenever a creature we control deals combat damage to a player. Taking control of the play space will be crucial to protecting our army. To keep this engine running, we will have to include many Enrage enablers. Pyrohemia is the classic example, giving us the ability to just pay a red mana to deal 1 damage to each creature. Desert can deal a damage to an attacking creature, even if it is our own. Goblin Bombardment will allow us to sacrifice a creature to deal a damage to any target. Uvenwild Tracker will allow our commander to trigger on fight damage, removing a small creature and generating a big one. Fire Slinger, Cunning Spark Mage, Goblin Sharpshooter, Prodigal Pyromancer, Vithian Stinger, and Volshock Sorcerer can each tap to deal a damage to any target. The most powerful of these is Blasting Station. This can go infinite with our commander if we can make him indestructible, tapping to deal a damage to our commander, and then the commander makes a token which enters the battlefield and untaps Blasting Station. You can see how this gets out of control way quickly. Speaking of which, we can make our commander indestructible with Darksteel Plate and Eldrazi Monument. With all of these enraged triggers, we will be able to turn Silverclad Ferocidons and Green Dragon into some real serious board wipes. Of course, Blasphemous Act is an obvious board wipe to include here as well. Hull Breach and Clouth's Will can each assist us in artifact and enchantment removal. Colony Ambush and Spit Flame can be excellent spot removal in the right situation. Balaged Recovery and Paleoloth can each help us return things from our graveyard to our hand. Anger and Brawn each like to sit in our graveyard, and can give either haste or trample respectively to our entire team. And they are really easy to pitch in the bin with all this incidental extra damage. Nylea, God of the Hunt, gives all of our creatures trample, and can also pump up some creatures each turn. Now, closing out the game will be easy as we turn this fearsome dragon-producing engine up to 11. Fiendlash will allow our commander to throw around massive damage each time that we trigger its Enrage ability. Crucible of Fire will up the challenge by increasing our dragons each by +3/+3. Where Ancients Tread will deal 5 damage to any target each time one of our 5 or greater power creatures enters play. Dragon Tempest and Scourge of Valkus will each deal X damage to any target when a dragon enters our battlefield, where X is the number of dragons that we control. Warstorm Surge and Terror of the Peaks will each deal damage to any target equal to the power of each creature that enters our battlefield. Stalking Vengeance will allow our dying creatures to deal damage equal to their power to target player. All of this will compound even faster with Dragon Master Outcast, Dragon Broodmother, and Utvara Hellkite, each pumping out a consistent stream of dragon tokens. Even further, Parallel Lives and Primal Vigor can have quite a large effect as well, each doubling up all of our tokens. Worst case scenario, we can even turn our mana into extra damage with Kessig Wolfrun. For lands, we will try to include as many reasonable dual lands as possible, with a few for utility. I find that both hideaway lands in these colors are easy to trigger. Both Mosswort Bridge and Spinerock Knoll give us the power to cheat on mana for any powerful spell that we find with them. For color fixing, we have Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Cinderglade, Cragcrown Timbercrown Pathway, Firelit Thicket, Game Trail, Grove of the Burn Willows, Garul Turf, Highland Forest, Carplusen Forest, Mossfire Valley, Rootbound Crag, Sheltered Thicket, Spire Garden, and Stomping Ground, leaving us room for 8 forests and 5 mountains. That about wraps it up for this deck tech. I hope you enjoyed the video. You'll find the link to the full deck list on arcadeck.com in the description, complete with a maybe board. Let me know in the comments below if you would take this deck in a different direction, or if there are any key includes that I missed. Cheers, and happy casting!
If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit that like button, and also share it with your friends. If you want to see more videos like these, or hear me ramble about how to navigate this magic multiverse, go ahead and click that subscribe button to stay up to date on the latest from me, Doyle Prime, and the happenings throughout Magic the Gathering. Thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you all next video.